And on Periscope and Facebook and D Live and YouTube. What's up? It is Thursday, September 24th, 2020, and everybody's rioting. Well, not everybody, but yes, more riots around the country. Riots, violent riots. People being really evil. We're going to have some fun this morning. You can call in 888-775-3773, and I will remind you some of the so-called celebrities who have been supporting the riots since, May, June? I'm going to be reminding you guys about that as well. And I'll read a letter from the Officer Mattingly. Officer Mattingly, who got shot in the leg, and people want him to go to jail. It's crazy. Anyway, let's get on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, aren't we just full of evil people in this country? Where did they all come from? It's strange. Very strange. But it's actually been a long time coming, hasn't it? A long time coming. Because it has gone on unchecked. Unchecked. Malkuth X says, I like the trap version of this song better. By the way, I am wearing my White History Month t-shirt. Doesn't July just feel white? That's a quote from Jesse Lee Peterson. And July is White History Month, but I thought, we need a reminder of, there once was sanity in this country, I think. And there is a resurgence of sanity amongst the remnant. The remnant, meaning a minority of people. And hopefully these riots that are going on, I don't know if you're aware of them. Most of you probably, if you're watching this show, are quite aware of more riots. First, they rioted over George Floyd, who was the fentanyl overdosing felon, who is supposedly a Christian. Maybe he was trying to be a Christian. And he resisted arrest. But they only showed video of him with the knee on his neck. The cop's knee on his neck. And that looked so terrible. And people called it murder, including people on our side. People who are supposed to be sane, objectively defending the police and admitting where they're wrong and stuff like that. Sane people were calling it murder, and it turned out not to be murder. But to this day, the stupid media... To this day, says what's his name. The dumb media is saying, oh, George Floyd was killed. Well, I mean, the one of the medical examiners called it a homicide. That means that, yes, he was overdosing, but they surmise that the stress of the arrest, or stress of his resisting arrest, and the stress of being on the ground, which he asked to be put on the ground. And he said he couldn't breathe before they had the chance to put their knees on him. Was contributed to his death, right? So therefore it's a homicide. And people are so dumb that they think homicide means murder. Oh, he was murdered. Ridiculous. This 47-year-old, strong guy, but weak spirit, and that's why he died. And he tried twice because he was high, to pass a $20 bill, a fake 20. Twice he tried. So that means at least once it was knowingly. At least once, unless he forgot because he was so high out of his mind. Do you get high on fentanyl? I think you do. I've never been. And I'm white. I thought all whites got high on fentanyl. So you saw all the crazy riots after that, and that was just like oh yeah, we're still here, Black Lives Matter saying, we're still here, because we almost thought that they forgot that they existed, because President Trump thankfully gave them no play, and they seemed to just cower in the shadows, complain. And that's all they're doing now. They're complaining. Because under Obama, there were multiple riots in various cities. But now they're quite well, like Jesse Lee Peterson pointed out, organized on a mass scale. And I think that they're doing it really around the country. I mean, I said around the country, but they're doing it around the world. I heard that there were Black Lives Matter riots with regard to the George Floyd incident over in like London, England. Ridiculous. So anyway, I will be accepting your calls. 888-775-3773. I have a letter from that officer Mattingly, which I received from, well, former officer Brandon Tatum. Apparently has an inside connection with the police department over in Louisville, Kentucky. Long history. Big, I remember hearing like black Negro spirituals being sung, recorded in Louisville, Kentucky. And these very passionate black pastors, one in particular I remember hearing, just talking about Christianity and becoming a serious Christian. Well, that's not the case anymore. And I don't know if that was part of the illusion that they were becoming Christians. Many people have this illusion that they're Christians. They're not. At least not the kind that's going to change things for the better. But Louisville, Kentucky, I've known Louisville ever since I've worked for the Jesse Lee Peterson show. When I came on as producer in late 2013, maybe early 2014 or late 2014, I remember watching security camera footage from like gas station or convenience store of just mobs of black youth, so-called youth, descending on this convenience store, harassing and threatening drivers in the middle of the night. And you just see masses of them. It's like zombies. Like a whole bunch of zombies. You see the zombies walking? We've been seeing stuff like that. And we've heard about wilding and stuff like that for decades, unchecked. Wilding, which is where blacks go crazy over in Central Park, what is that? New York. And it was during that time of wilding in the early 90s when the Central Park jogger got, according to the reports, raped, beaten, lost all kinds of blood. They didn't think that she would survive, but she did. Has no memory of the incident. And 5 Central Park non-joggers, Central Park jogger, a white female. The 5 guys, young guys, one of them might have been a non-minor. The rest of them were minors, teenagers, black teens. Well, some of them were like black Hispanic, but they had beaten somebody with a pipe. They had committed other attacks. They admitted to attacking. There was no evidence of a forced confession, but Black Lives Matter is now blaming the victims, meaning the people of New York, including President Trump, who was like, we need to enforce the law. They had stolen bikes. I don't know about they themselves, but other people had stolen bikes. One guy said, that was my first rape. It's crazy. And then later, a Hispanic guy claimed that he did it, and his DNA was found. The going theory is that he came later after they beat her up. Who knows? But there's stupid celebrities supporting this nonsense. I'm going to get to that. Let me show you a few just some screenshots from the riots. In Denver, Colorado, BLM-Antifa rioters detain a driver. They're not cops, though. On the road and surround the vehicle. One person starts kicking the car. The driver speeds off, hitting the people that were blocking him. What else are you supposed to do? That's from Andy No shared it from Tristan Justice. Thank God for independent journalists, huh? Citizen journalists, because I read the headlines from CNN and the far left outlet, The Skim. They make you think only Louisville got violent. And they only admit that Louisville got violent because 2 cops were shot. So they can't cover that up. It's crazy. So what's Denver have to do with Louisville? Nothing. Andy No says in Portland, Oregon, a rioter threw a large Molotov cocktail at Portland police. And those things, I had no idea that they produce that much flame. That flame is bigger than 3 people and tall, too. Multiple times in Oregon were Molotov cocktails thrown, but in Seattle, too. Rioters assaulted a cop, and I captured the screenshot. You can barely make it out. It's kind of blurry because there's so much action going on. But you see the cop who's like trying to pick up his bicycle? He has a helmet on, but right behind him is a guy in black wearing a gas mask, completely covered his face, and he's hitting him in the back of the head with a bat. An aluminum bat, too. A metal bat. Overnight, hundreds of BLM-Antifa rioters attacked the Justice Center in Portland. They used rocks to shatter windows of the police station, set the exterior on fire multiple times, threw 3 Molotov cocktails at officers. I have the mugshot of the nice, upstanding young man. Lorenzo Johnson, Larynzo. Never seen that spelling of Lorenzo before. Lorenzo Johnson is in police custody on suspicion of shooting the Louisville Metro police officers. 2 cops shot. I don't know much about the officers. I believe that one of them was black and one of them may have been something else. I don't know. He's charged with wanton endangerment, much like one of these cops who's also charged with wanton endangerment for responding to shots being fired. Joel Friday. Is it Joel? Joel asks, where's Kyle when you need him? Yeah. As in Kyle Jack Bauer John Wick Rittenhouse. The awesome. And he's awesome. And I'm not condoning or... don't worry, YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. I'm not condoning or celebrating violence. But I am celebrating American heroes who aptly defend themselves and others from evil people, of which these people are. Lorenzo Johnson, misguided young man, no doubt. Charged with wanton endangerment and assault of a police officer at the Black Lives Matter riot. There's a couple of so-called white people in Portland. Joseph Robert Sipe, S-I-P-E, age 23, arrested in Portland, Antifa riot. Firebombs were used. First-degree attempted murder, first-degree arson, and other felonies. Federal hold on him so he can't be quickly released. Unlike where, oh my gosh, the Portland mayor, fear-mongering about upcoming date, the 26th. What's the 26th? That would be Saturday. Saturday coming up, an alt-right protest, supposedly. Crazy. I'm going to get to that. But he says violence has no place, has no home in Atlanta. The Atlanta mayor, Ted Wheeler. Cyan Waters Bass, age 21. Portland, yeah, Portland. Did I say Seattle? Yeah, Portland. Arrested in Portland Antifa riot. Oh, I said Atlanta. Man, what's the difference anymore? Atlanta's black, Portland's so we'll call it white, both degenerate. This Cyan, I guess. Waters Bass, 21. Another, I don't know, I can't believe that these people are Americans. Was arrested at the Portland Antifa riot where firebombs were thrown, charged with 2 counts of first-degree arson, felony possession of destructive device, and more. Federal hold on him, so he too cannot be quickly released. Sick people. Oh my gosh. Let me just read this ridiculous statement to you. Andy No tweeted out that this was Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler, Portland, Oregon. Ted Wheeler's most recent tweet was yesterday, maybe around 5 p.m., something like that. And maybe I could click over and see if he's tweeted since then, but Ted Wheeler tweeted on 9/26, which is this Saturday. Alt-right groups and white nationalists are intent on coming to our community. These people empower racism, intolerance, and hate. These are not Portland values. They are not welcome. Hate has no home in Portland, except for hatred towards whites and cops. It's ridiculous. And he also tweeted, violence has no home in Portland. Portland has been home to some of the worst violence lately. Anyone intending to create fear, commit violence, or spread hate is not welcome here. And he shared a YouTube video on the Portland City Council statement regarding the demonstrations coming up on Saturday. I guess he's not happy that some, most likely these are pretty decent people coming up to demonstrate. Although I don't know if they're exactly wise to try this in Portland. That city is owned and run by Satan. By the way, Mayor Ted Wheeler, Google a picture of him just for me. Official account for the 53rd mayor of the city of Portland, Oregon. Pronouns. He has his pronouns in his Twitter bio. He/him/his. So he's just letting you know that he's not a female, even though he thinks like one. That's a kiss up to the transgender and the gender non-binary people. Nasty people. And also in Grand Rapids, Michigan, New York City, Philadelphia, Indianapolis, Los Angeles, and Chicago and Washington, D.C., and Portland and Seattle. So lame. Anyway, let me read a few super chats, and then I will get to calls. Noah's Ark, Kansas gave a diamond. Thank you, man. Appreciate to Jesse Lee Peterson for hosting the show on D-Live. What's up? Thank you guys for joining. Marcus Jones Stinks. There's a picture of that guy. Ted Wheeler. Marcus Jones Stinks gave a diamond. Late news, not Hake news. He reverse Oreo. Interesting. Yeah, because they say that I'm late every time because 9 o'clock passes, right? But that's when Jesse Lee Peterson's show ends, and it takes a minute or two to switch things over. Because I don't want to just stream on Jesse's channel all the time. That doesn't work very well. Yeah, and some reporters were arrested too. They were doing mass arrests in Louisville. I'm fine with that. Arrest them. They got to get everybody off the streets. Honestly, the media, the mainstream media especially, is feeding this stuff. You know, look at me on TV. Ridiculous. And the mainstream media is more than feeding it just by covering it. They're feeding the speculation and lies about Black Lives Matter. They're enemies of the people, as President Trump rightly said. Do you think that President Trump's poll numbers, do you think that he got some more voters thanks to these riots? I think he might. Because Joe Biden is feeding these lies and this hatred. And so are the whole rest of the Democrats. And the fake Celebrities. I'm going to get to them. Oh my gosh. Ridiculous. But first, let's get to some sanity first, I think, maybe. Samuel in Sweden. Samuel, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Came home from work and wanted to call in and just mention one thing I would talk about on my Sunday stream.
Right on.
Yeah, I don't really have a topic yet, but I found this amazing news article about how they in the UK, in England, they are looking at criminalizing misogyny against women then. And it's quite crazy because, they start with hate crimes against so-called minorities.
Right.
And now next year they will decide if they're going to make it a crime to commit misogyny. And they said, one of the ministers said that, let's see, I bring it up there. We have to, if we were to have hate crime in relation to gender, we would have to think carefully about whether that would apply to the entire population or just to half of it. So it seems that, because, men are hated more than women. So, if someone should be protected, it's men. But it's not really, you should not have these kind of laws.
Right. You're right.
So, it would be really insanely fun if they create protection only for women. The crime is when you commit the other offense. They have that in the UK, that if you commit another offense like an attack or something against a group of people, and it's a protected group, you will get even harsher punishment.
Right.
But, when I read this, I realize that this is so unfair. We should be equal to the law, no matter what group we are, no matter what. So
and no matter the motive either.
Yeah, and I noticed, I was thinking about it, because when I read old laws, the old Swedish law, or even the biblical laws, if you commit a crime, there is an exact punishment, the same punishment for every person for the same crime. And today, the judge has the right to decide to be, soft or to be harsh, depending on if the judge wanted.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that and wondered if there's something like this. I was thinking about conspiracy theories. For example, if about the secret groups like Freemasons and things like that it was a way to make it possible to give soft punishment for, brothers in these groups or something.
Yeah.
Because why would they give such a big possibility to give a soft crime for soft punishment for some people and a harsher for others when they commit exactly the same crime?
You're right, man. It reminds me of this Breonna Taylor case. The only reason that we're hearing about it is because she's black. And if she had been a white girl, a white young woman, ex-EMT involved in this stuff, we wouldn't have heard about it. We would not have heard about it. So the police are suffering, and the whole world, honestly, is suffering more because of this affirmative action crime. Affirmative action crime. Which is a fake, not even a crime. They didn't even commit a real crime.
No, they have the right to do their police duty, and they had the right to defend themselves. And things can happen. They didn't shoot a innocent person willfully. It's crazy that even a single cop has been indicted.
I totally agree. He should not have been indicted. It was just kissing up. He should not have even been fired. If he was a little heated, as one of the officers said, if he was a little heated, then he should have maybe been given some time to cool off, not fired. It's ridiculous. I don't believe that he actually did wanton endangerment. And they're like grandstanding about it. This so-called police chief, interim police chief, Schroeder, was grandstanding about this Hankison, who fired through a balcony doorway or something like that, and not a balcony doorway, but a sliding glass door and a window, and it went into an apartment. Ooh, this is what happens. This is why the neighbors should not even want these criminals around. And I did find out that it was true, according to the report that Breonna Taylor had exclusive access to. According to that report, and a caller mentioned this a week or two ago, that she rented a vehicle that was involved, that was part of an investigation in a murder. Her car was used in a murder back in like 2016 or so. A car that she rented. It was in her name on rental when this murder happened, according to the way that it was presented in that report. So these people are just liars. And that's what they're going to do with this misogyny law. UK is so, I don't want to say the word. I always hesitate to say the word. Sometimes I use it. But they're so betraying common sense, logic, what's right, kissing up to and men, betraying men, and honestly betraying all humanity by doing that, and kissing up to the females, and the worst in the females. What a shame.
It's very interesting that you say this, because while we can see that the Western civilization people, Western people, they are less, let's say, violent.
Right.
White Western people. But I mean, the moral is way down in one sense. I mean, when I speak with people from other cultures, black and brown, whatever, most of them have at least the concept of the man should be about a woman, that they know certain things about.
Right. The more traditional, less educated people, in other words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at everything. Well, I agree with them on that part,
Right.
I mean, so it's fascinating,
Yeah. Anyway, Samuel, interesting tip. Appreciate that. UK banning misogyny, which is another word for hatred specifically towards women. That's only going to increase the hatred and resentment towards women. By the way, just FYI. Thanks, Samuel. Take care, man.
The same. Bye.
All right. Now, I got to get to, real quick, Tony in California. Brace yourself. Here's Tony in California, the disgrace to all truck drivers, but about average for blacks. What's up, Tony?
Good morning, Hake. I had to call you today.
Yeah.
The situation on Breonna Taylor, how the prosecutor, which is Mitch McConnell's son-in-law, married to his white daughter.
Is that
he wrote
so?
An indictment. He wrote an indictment, didn't even put Breonna Taylor's name on the indictment. That's why they were found not guilty. That's all I had to say to y'all. They didn't even put her name on the grand indictment.
And?
Her name is nowhere on there.
And?
Well, hey, how can you indict somebody for a murder when your name is not on there? Have a good day, y'all.
It wasn't a murder. That's why, Tony. It was not a murder.
Okay. Have a good day. Bye.
You have a good day, too. I thought that he would be gloating. Sour grapes, I guess. I wonder what he thought about the, I was going to ask him about the riots, but it sounded like he wanted to get out of there. And I'm not going to keep him. And I don't know who the prosecutor is that he's referring to, who's married to Mitch McConnell's daughter. Interesting. I don't know who he's talking about, because he said prosecutor. He didn't say attorney general. Is the attorney general the prosecutor? I don't know. But is he referring to that guy who was crying? This is part of the other part of the problem, where the people on the right are so weak and easily misled around. I think it's so nice to have simple people leading the way, or at least setting an example and speaking out against this stuff. Simple people who have a big picture view of the world. I like how President Trump typically has a big picture view of reality in the world, where he doesn't go along and get sucked into these dumb, meaningless details of this case or that case, Breonna Taylor or George Floyd. But he's not going to stand for the riots and attacks on America. Or he's definitely willing to help. I guess he kind of has to sit by and let the locals let their cities go to ruin. But I like how, for example, in the Jesse Lee Peterson show today, he pointed out it's not about her or the police or anything. It's about the destruction of the country. And why are they interested in destroying the country? Because they have this female mindset, egotistical mindset of tearing it down and rebuilding it the way that they want it to be built. You know how I'm sure some of you guys have gotten caught up in an issue, on your pet issues in different situations, and wanted to mess things up and rebuild it the way that you want it. And it turns out not well. Does not turn out well. Listen to this black Kentucky attorney general who people have been praising. He had a nice speech, I hear, in the Republican National Convention, who announced the charges against the one officer in this Breonna Taylor case in his press conference. He said, and I read this in Hake News at the end of hour 2 today, I understand that as a black man, how painful this is. Why does he have to say as a black man? It has nothing to do with black, except that blacks commit more crimes. I said that if it were a white woman, they wouldn't have batted an eye, but a white woman would have been much, much, much less likely to be involved in this stuff at this scale. Having rented a car that was part of a murder? I don't know. Yeah, a few of them might. A growing number, let's say, because white degeneracy is on the rise. Somebody I was arguing with on Instagram, I was on Instagram last night, said, oh, college kids have dorm rooms full of drugs. Have you ever been to a party? And I didn't even bother answering the question, but no, I haven't been to a party where there's drugs, not like that. Alcohol, I've been to those parties, but not like that. And I didn't go to that type of college. I went to a Christian college, but I didn't do the dorm thing. I moved in with some pals in my last 3 months of college. And they liked me, I liked them. But they were like half-decent Christian men. They weren't involved in stuff like this. But this is Daniel Cameron saying, as a black man, and AP, far-left AP so-called news, capitalizes the first letter of the word black as if he meant to capitalize it. I don't know if he would have capitalized it. Maybe he's following the crowd, capitalizing black to kiss up to black people, pretending that it's a proper name. It's a description of their race. They're black. How painful it is. Which is why it is so incredibly important. He shouldn't be giving any play to these people. We need people on the for what's right, who don't give any ground to these people. He's surrendering everything. Listen to this. It's incredibly important to make sure that we did everything we possibly could to uncover every fact. My heart breaks for the loss of Miss Taylor, he said, referring to Breonna Taylor. Then he doesn't belong being an attorney general if his emotions are involved like this. Because then he was not going to do his job faithfully. objectively. It's kind of like this officer who allegedly went crazy, a little crazy. Wanton, what is it called? Wanton disregard for human life, something like that. Same thing with this guy. This guy is wantonly prosecuting, in my opinion. He said, I've said repeatedly, my mother, if something was to happen to me. This is like stuff that Obama was doing. If something was to happen to me, he paused as his voice faltered and he held back tears, would find it very hard. I've seen that pain on Miss, and they put Tamika Palmer's face, Miss Palmer's face, who somehow has a different last name from Breonna Taylor. Makes it sound like Breonna Taylor didn't come from a good family. And what a surprise, right? That you would be girlfriends with a drug dealer. An ex-boyfriend, drug dealer, this new boyfriend involved in who knows what, and she's still involved with who knows what. And by the way, people were saying, oh, they found no drugs or paraphernalia at the apartment, which I think is a suspect lie. And I've heard that for one, the raid was a botched raid because they knocked and announced when they should have done a no-knock. But according to Mattingly, the main officer who got shot in the leg, he said that we were advised to knock and announce, even though they had the no-knock raid warrant. The mainstream media endlessly called it a no-knock raid. And I heard that they banned no-knock raids after that. No-knock warrants. They banned them. Even though there were no-knock raids that were actually no-knock that same night going on by other little teams, little police teams, including of the ex-boyfriend, I heard. No shots were fired at those locations where they did a no-knock raid. But they knocked and announced. You know that libertarian guy, one of the libertarian guys who called my show, said, oh, they should have knocked and said, hey, we're coming to get you. Don't run now. Don't get prepared to fight. You take the criminal by surprise because they're criminals. They're cunning. They're evil. Yeah, some suggest they may have flushed it down the toilet. The drugs. Who knows? Who knows? We won't know because he was left alone. The guy who shot at the cops, the boyfriend who survived the incident, I heard he was left inside the apartment alone for 10 to 12 or more minutes. What could he have done during that time? He could have done anything. He could have hidden drugs and all that stuff. Flushed it down the toilet. Desperado Dave says, glad they banned no-knock warrants. I don't care if they flush the drugs. Swatting kills people who have no drugs. I don't know, man. Based AF, Based America First, says, likely if they didn't knock, Taylor would be alive. That's what I think. I'm not for tying the police hands when we have an out-of-control criminal element and a growing one in our country. I think one of the guys here, one of the experts here, said he wants the police to crush the drug dealers. And I agree with that. You can't be freedom and this libertarian stuff. That's when you have a high-trust society. That is when people are moral. You crack down hard and fast and early. The earlier you handle situations, the less messy it is. You notice that? That's why I like when there's men who are not afraid to be men, who are in charge of things like the country, who call it out right away before it gets out of control, before it grows, because evil does grow. It gets worse. So this guy, Daniel Cameron, could you Google a picture of this poor guy? Poor sap. I don't mean to be too hard on him, but you have to, because look at how he's talking. He's a total rhino the way that he's talking. My mother, if something was to happen to me. Pausing as his voice faltered and he held back tears, would find it very hard. I've seen that pain on Miss Tamika Palmer's face, referring to Breonna's mother. I've seen that pain in the community. And he's talking about the black community and the liberals who feel sorry for the blacks, which means the liberals are the enemies of the blacks. And so that doesn't please anybody. Not anybody genuine, not anybody fake. This Davante Lewis, Director of Public Affairs and Outreach at Louisiana Budget Project in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which is a nonprofit organization that works with low-income community and advocates for racial equality. So this is an enemy of America organization. Communist. Here's Daniel Cameron, picture of Daniel Cameron. He looks nice, but he reminds me of the surgeon. I mean, he looks mildly strong physically, but not spiritually. And he's probably fairly conservative, but weak. Reminds me of that Surgeon General, maybe not as bad as that Surgeon General. President Trump's Surgeon General, who's urging the black and brown community, tell your abuela, tell your big mama, tell your pop, protect yourselves. Oh no, wear a mask, do it, or stay away from these older folks. Do it for your abuela, which is grandma, right? Do it for your pop. He's just being, I don't know, weak. So this person, Davante Lewis, director of this racial equality organization, which isn't, they hate blacks, they hate whites, they hate everybody, but they pretend to care for blacks. This guy calls that guy, the conservative guy, who's half decent but kind of weak, he said, his statements to me are crocodile tears. I told you they don't care. A black face in a high place doesn't mean anything if it's not about actually fundamentally decolonizing, which isn't a slur upon whites, right? And tearing down, right? The systems of inequality and inequity that have existed in this country since its founding. Told you, enemy of America. Daniel Cameron is 34 years old, elected last year as the state's first black, and they capitalize black because this is the far-left AP so-called news, Attorney General, rising star in the Republican Party, guest speaker at the GOP convention last month, declared himself a proud Republican and supporter of President Donald J. Trump. Right on, man. The president has placed the Attorney General on the short list for a seat on the Supreme Court. Well, at this point, he's no Clarence Thomas. Let's put it that way. I don't know if I could picture Clarence Thomas saying, my mother, if something were to happen to me, as if this guy is involved in the drug game, which this woman was, even bailing out her drug dealer boyfriend like a mother, like a spoiling mother who enables the worst. Riots like crazy for this. So it's wild. You know, they railroaded these cops. Before, I think in the next hour, I'll tell you guys about these dumb celebrities. But I want to read the open letter. Well, it wasn't an open letter. I want to read the letter that leaked from this officer Mattingly. Not to be confused with the officer who fired into the apartment through the window. And he was heated and stuff. I still defend that guy because I think he's getting railroaded for politics. Just to kiss up, just to pretend to be fair. Wanton endangerment, which is the same charge that the guy who tried to kill cops got, wanton endangerment. And then I will get to your calls and all that stuff. Ridiculous stuff. This is an email that former Jesse Lee Peterson guest Brandon Tatum received. He's a former officer, right? And so it was leaked to him. And this is an email from Mattingly. I guess Sergeant Mattingly. He said, LMPD family, which is Louisiana Metro. No, Louisville Metro, sorry. Police Department. This is Kentucky. Dear family, LMPD family, I'm not here to give you a rah-rah, you got this speech. I'm not here to tell you signed up to help this community and keep your head up. I'm here to tell you that I'm sorry you have to go through this. I'm sorry your families have to go through this. And then he calls out the mayor. Amy Hess is the mayor, apparently. And Chief Conrad, Police Chief Conrad, I guess. Different from, I guess there was an interim Police Chief Schroeder. Failed all of us in epic proportions for their own gain. And to cover their A-words, I don't have the pictures to show you, but show Amy Hess, if that's the mayor of Louisville, if you can Google that, as in Hess Trucks, and as in Hess, the over on the East Coast they have that as what are those things called? Gas stations. Hess, Hess. You do not deserve to be in this position. This position that allows thugs to get in your face, yell, curse, degrade you, throw bricks, bottles, and urine on you. Urine they're throwing on these people. That's Amy Hess. Can you believe it? Louisville, Kentucky. Is she a Democrat? I wonder. Has to be, right? Maybe not. I don't know. That's a picture of the Louisville mayor. Amy Hess. Not standing by sanity or justice or the police. This officer Mattingly goes on. It goes against everything we were all taught in the academy. The position that if you make a mistake during one of the most stressful times in your career, and yeah, imagine shots being fired from this boyfriend who's sleeping over at his girlfriend's apartment, Breonna Taylor. And they thought it was a soft target. They didn't know if there were kids, dogs, what. They apparently weren't expecting to get shot at. And one was shot in the leg. You make a mistake during one of the most stressful times in your career. The department and the FBI, which he points out, who aren't cops and would pee their pants if they had to hold the line, go after you for so-called civil rights violations. Your civil rights mean nothing, but the criminal has total autonomy, meaning the criminal gets all of the protection. And meanwhile, these guys get scrutinized. And he makes a great point. I heard on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, he's like wondering, wouldn't the FBI or the DOJ, Department of Justice, go after this stuff? Well, the FBI and the DOJ are overrun with liberals, and they undermine the president. Did you know that? James Comey, James the Simp Comey, who wore a t-shirt that said, elect more women. And his wife, he's supposed to be a Republican, I heard, but his wife and daughters attended the Women's March and cried when Hillary didn't win. I don't know if they cried, but they were upset. They wanted Hillary to win, Hillary Clinton. James Comey was the head of the FBI. And it's hard to get rid of all these degenerate people. I have a Hill article from 2016 showing that 90% or more of donations in a 2016 election from government employees across every department, including the ones that you would think would support Republicans or support America, are going to support Hillary, went to support Hillary over Trump. 80 to 90+%. In some cases, higher than 95%. So this guy goes on. We all signed up to be police officers. We knew the risks, and we were willing to take them. I will get to your calls. Hang tight, guys. But we always assumed the city had your back. Bad assumption. After seeing what was it, $1.5 million go to Michael Brown's so-called family in Ferguson, Missouri, you would think that people would realize, oh, and probably Trayvon Martin's so-called family got money. And they're certainly getting special preferential treatment by the mainstream media and all the Democrats. So maybe he should not have assumed that the city had their back. We wanted to do this right thing in the midst of an evil world, to protect those who cannot protect themselves, to enforce laws that make it possible to live in a peaceful society. We as police do not care if you are black, white, Hispanic, Asian, what you identify as this week. I think he's making fun of how people change their so-called identities. We are sons, daughters, blah, blah, blah. Husbands, wives. He even says partners, brothers, sisters, dads, moms. Human beings with flaws, feelings, and emotions. And then he admits, now I'm just rambling, but I want you to know that I'm still proud to be a cop. Crazy. And he goes on. I'll read the rest of it later. I'll read the rest of it at the beginning of the hour. First, I want to get to Rick in Hampton, Virginia. He wants to talk about the indictment and Breonna Taylor. I think Rick used to be a cop, by the way. Rick in Hampton, Virginia, how are you doing?
My brother James, what's going on, man? Love you guys, man. Keep up the good work, man. We got to get the word out, man.
I know. Appreciate it, Rick.
Man, no problem, man. You know, here's the thing. You know, I knew what was going to be the outcome before he even made the announcement. You know, before the
yeah, I know. I think we're not surprised, honestly, because even the conservative side was throwing this one guy under the bus. And we've known for weeks. We've known for weeks that it was not no knock. There was no knock, but they knocked and announced. We've known for weeks that. We've known that he fired the first shot. We've known that we've known that she wasn't sleeping. She wasn't killed in her sleep. We've known all that stuff, and we've known that she's been involved in shady stuff.
Yep.
Including a murder. Her name was tied to a murder. Having her name on the rental car.
CNN won't even mention none of that. I'm like, I got my reports on Breonna Taylor's report, and it was right on the money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if he can get it, why couldn't mainstream media get it?
Because they're not looking for it. They don't want to look.
Absolutely.
They cover their eyes. That's why they say, oh, Trump said without evidence, blah, blah, blah. Obama spied on his campaign. Oh, what's the outcome? Obama spied on his campaign.
Yeah, no evidence.
They just say it. They don't want the truth. They say, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. Facebook censored him. And Facebook is censoring stuff about Kyle Rittenhouse, and so is Instagram, by the way. I put a hashtag Kyle Rittenhouse and a hashtag Trayvon Martin. Do a little experiment, guys. Do a search for Instagram hashtag Kyle Rittenhouse, and then do a hashtag Trayvon Martin. And tell me there's white privilege, okay?
Also,
spoiler alert,
we all know that the
Kyle
liberals come up with a new name every year. I mean, like, what? Now, Rittenhouse, I don't have that story. Now, what's going on with him? And what they compare him?
He's charged with a bunch of. He's charged with a bunch of fake crimes because he shot 3 people in self-defense, and it was obviously self-defense from all the video evidence, which has been easily findable on Twitter and YouTube and elsewhere, and even shown on Tucker Carlson's show multiple times. Eyewitness accounts on the Tucker Carlson show weeks ago from a Daily Caller reporter who was right there when he fired the first shots, allegedly into Joseph Rosenbaum, the guy who attacked him multiple times, and even allegedly threw a Molotov cocktail at him. Or maybe it was a bag, who knows. But he was a violent young man and basically had a death wish. He said, "Shoot me, N-word." And so, he showed up to help. He showed up earlier in the day. He was photographed. I said that he was cleaning graffiti off a courthouse, but it turned out that it was cleaning off graffiti from the high school. Oh, sorry about that, guys. But he was cleaning graffiti earlier in the day, photographed, and then he was protecting businesses, putting out fires, according to what it appears, that he put out a dumpster fire, and that's what got that Joseph Rosenbaum really riled at him, chasing him down, getting himself killed.
Wow.
And then they chased him more, saying, oh, he just killed a guy. And then he said, oh, I'm running to the police. And he ran to the police, but they just drove right by him. So I guess he just went home.
God.
I don't know. But it's a crazy situation.
Man.
He did everything right, according to what I can tell. So
I'm gonna take that because I didn't know much about that. I kept hearing it, and it's Kyle
Rittenhouse, R-I-T-T-E-N House, Rittenhouse.
Oh, Rittenhouse.
17-year-old young man. He did not transport the gun across state lines, which even if he did, that's what kind of a fake law is that? He lives 15 minutes, I think, from Kenosha. Maybe I'm exaggerating how close he lives from Kenosha, but Antioch, Illinois to Kenosha, Wisconsin. Somebody Google Maps it or something.
Man.
But he went there. I think he worked in Kenosha. Wasn't he like a lifeguard somewhere? And he was like an upstanding young man, or he still is an upstanding young man. And they're smearing him as a white supremacist and a terrorist.
When he called that I guess he called that black kid a nigger. Man, I bet the left ran away with that, buddy. And they need to hear.
The one who said N-word was the guy who got himself killed. He was an Antifa Black Lives Matter supporter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the one who,
I'm glad you corrected me.
Yeah, the guy who attacked Kyle said the N-word. But he didn't say it with an R, Rick. He said, didn't he not use an R? He's trying to talk black.
Man, are you serious? Wow, I'm a follow. There'll be so many stories to try and keep up with. Oh God, man! It just be so many stories, that you.
Yeah, I know. It's endless.
You try and keep up with. You know,
you don't have to.
Endless, man.
But that's why I like the simple people who don't even bother really keeping up with these stories, because you don't really have to. You already know what these people are about. Look at these people.
Right.
It's Black Lives Matter, which are obvious, angry, accusatory liars, and then a bunch of people, lying liberals who support them too. And these Portland 23-year-olds and 21-year-olds, disgusting people, they're awful.
Oh, yeah. But the police, they did everything right. He fired, matter of fact, I can tell Breonna Taylor's boyfriend was scared because they teach you two rules when you shooting a gun. Number one, don't shoot at nothing you can't identify. I don't care what it is. You know something else. You can't identify it, don't shoot.
Uh-huh.
And he basically was shooting out of panic because I believe he thought the people that came in was Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend, the drug dealer, that was coming in after him.
That's what he claimed. That's what he claimed. I don't know. Some people don't really believe that story. Some think that he may have been just trying to cover himself, cover for his crime of trying to shoot the police, because he seemed like he was a fresh criminal. Maybe he wasn't a criminal. I don't know, but
He fired first, and the police, I would have done the exact same thing.
Right.
You and I could have went in for a raid, and then we going in and trying to do a raid, and he shoots you. As far as I'm concerned, we are police officers. We doing a raid together. We brothers. Yep. And if he hits you, I'm sorry. I'm lighting that place up until I stop the threat.
Yeah, exactly. I appreciate
it, Rick. That's what they did. No problem, Jay. I'll be talking forever, but love y'all. Keep up the good work.
All right. You as well. Take care. I'm going to get to more of your callers. David in San Diego says that David didn't put out that fire. Interesting. So maybe he has information that I don't. But we saw him running by a said that Kyle didn't put out that fire. He says that Kyle Rittenhouse did not put out that dumpster fire. It looked like somebody kind of fat, and it looked like it could have been Kyle. He's he's losing that weight, but He still has a little bit of weight on him. It looked like it might have been him, and we saw him running by with a fire extinguisher briefly. So I don't know. We'll see what David says. But first, I got to take a couple of minutes break. I'll be right back, guys. I will get to your super chats. Joe Maddock, thank you for all the support, man. Kobe Doby. And Streamlabs. I am streaming on YouTube, guys. Isn't that exciting? I'm back. We'll see how long that lasts. But we'll see. All right, guys. Hang tight for hour 2. Be right back. And we're back, guys. Appreciate you hanging on. David didn't hang on. He just dropped. What the heck, David? Guy. Maybe he found out that I'm right. Maybe he found out that it was indeed Kyle Rittenhouse who put out that fire. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't Kyle who put out that fire. But somebody saw him. I mean, we saw it on video footage. It was played on Tucker Carlson's show even. That he ran by a camera carrying a fire extinguisher. And I think that footage came after somebody put out that dumpster fire, and they were trying to set a dumpster fire and then roll it into like police vehicles or something. Just evil people in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Who ever heard of Kenosha, Wisconsin? I have. I know about Kenosha, Wisconsin because that is where the once Christian college that my older sister went to. She ran like in the national championship or regional championship cross country thing over there. I mean, the Christian college is over here in SoCal, right? Outside of Los Angeles, Azusa Pacific, right? But they would do their national championship or some type of cross country running race, right? Where you run 3 miles if you're a girl. And that was in Kenosha. That's all I ever heard about with regard to Kenosha. I heard from another man who's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, or actually, yeah, he's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show and the Fallen State. He owned a big pot business over there. This is not the most upstanding young man. And he owned a pot business, and right across the street from them, stuff got burned out. I don't remember if he said that his pot business was like a distribution center or something, was burned up as well, but people, major riots, evil, destruction. Whatever you think of pot, it's evil to burn up the place, especially on the part of these sleazy people. So, David, if you want to call back and correct the record, you're welcome to, but he dropped out. Let me read to you. I just want to give you the mindset of this officer, Mattingly. And it doesn't seem like it was written by any lawyer or anything like that. This guy is just writing from the heart. I told you about how he's talking about, oh, we don't care who you are. We're here to protect you. And he's talking to his fellow officers, writing an email to his fellow officers in the police department. He says he's proud to be a cop, still proud to be an LMPD cop, Louisville Metro Police Department cop. No matter the ineptitude in upper command or the mayor's office, is one of the greatest jobs on earth. With that being said, these next few days are going to be tough. I don't know if he put this out very recently. Maybe he did. These are going to be long. They're going to be frustrating. There will be a tremendous amount of stress on you and your families. Do not let your ego get you in a trick bag. Have your partner's six, meaning have his back. De-escalate if possible. Do not give the pencil pushers at the top, the ones who are too scared to hold the line, a reason to open investigations into you. In other words, behave yourselves as best as you can. The same ones that couldn't make the decisions to save their lives. We need leaders that lead from the front and not in a room under a desk. Do what you need to do to go home to your family. Just do it with dignity and make sure you can justify your actions, because everything down there is recorded. I don't know a lot of you guys, gals, but I felt the love regardless of the outcome today or Wednesday. I guess this was this week that he sent this, because Wednesday was yesterday's announcement on the Breonna Taylor results. He said, I know we did the legal, moral, and ethical thing that night. It's sad how the good guys are demonized and criminals are canonized, meaning turned into saints. You've seen it. You saw it with James Scurlock. Well, I don't know if you saw it, but I told you about it. He got 2 murals. One of the murals was contributed by 100 artists in Omaha, Nebraska. The guy who jumped on Jake Gardner, got shot in the clavicle after he'd been rioting and breaking stuff, tried to attack Jake Gardner, whose father had been punched to the ground, got himself killed, a 22-year-old young black male criminal. You could blame his parents for how he was raised, I guess, but he got himself done in, and the artists are canonizing him. St. George, right? George Floyd. Murals everywhere for that man, that male. I use the term man kind of loosely, because he was not, maybe he had tried to turn himself around, but he was an out-of-control, overgrown male. 47 years old, fit, but overdosing on fentanyl, trying to pass false notes, right? Crazy. Mike Brown, huge. If you guys remember that, Michael Brown of Ferguson, Missouri, huge. What is that thing called? A funeral for that guy. Al Sharpton spoke there. Barack Obama, I believe, sent people there. Jesse Jackson III. No, not Jackson. MLK III. Probably Jesse Jackson. One of his people went down there. MLK III went down there. Who's that? Bernice King probably went down there. And the same thing with Freddie Gray. Michael Brown was the thug who strong-armed the store owner and then tried to kill Officer Darren Wilson, former Officer Darren Wilson, who had to go into hiding and only hang around whites. And then he was called racist for that because he doesn't know how the blacks are going to respond. Blacks put out a hit for George Zimmerman. They act like Trayvon Martin is a hero. They act like the Central Park Five were totally innocent boys. How they see us. They're still putting out propaganda about these people. So yeah, they're canonized. Put that aside for a while, goes on Mattingly in his email to the Louisville police. Keep your focus and do your jobs that you're trained and capable of doing. Don't put up with their blank and go home to those family and relationships. I wish I were there leading the charge. I'll be praying for your safety. Remember, you are just a pawn. Remember, this guy got shot in the leg. Remember, you're just a pawn in the mayor's political game. I'm proof that they do not care about you or your family, and you are replaceable. Stay safe. Do the right thing. See, I think at one point he says this is between good and evil. Do the right thing. You are loved and supported by most of the community. Now go be warriors out there, but please be safe. None of these peaceful, quote unquote, protesters are worth your career or freedom. Godspeed, boys and girls. Sergeant John Mattingly. And he also included his wife, I guess, Nikki Mattingly. I thought he said this is between good and evil, good versus evil. Maybe that was Jesse's former guest who shared it. But it is. It's good versus evil. And he's telling them the same thing that's in the Bible. You know, in the Bible, the Christians were mercilessly attacked. This is in the New Testament. Mercilessly attacked. Some of them thrown to lions and stuff. Some of them sawed in half. Some of them hung from a cross upside down, or at least one of them. So goes the legend, right? And I think it's true. I don't think they would say it if it wasn't true, right? They're not Black Lives Matter. They're not the mainstream media writing this stuff. I think that history at one point was more reliable. But they said, be perfect. Be above reproach. And we're held to a higher standard as Christians and as leaders in the church. So right on. Anyway, let me read some super chats. Seemed like a decent man, and they want this guy charged. And it's insane. They hide behind the fact that Breonna Taylor, her so-called family, got $12 million from the city of Louisville, right? In a settlement for in a settlement for a wrongful death lawsuit. Ambulance chasers. Really evil. Ill-gotten gain. That family will not do well with that money. They won't unless somebody has a change of heart. There was some guy over in Kenosha, I believe. The Kenosha shooting was justified, right? That's Jacob Blake, the guy who had a knife, who was maybe trying to break up a fight between a bunch of black women. Told his son to get in the SUV or the minivan or whatever. Resisted arrest, fought with the cops. Taser didn't work. He had a knife. They say drop the knife. They shoot him because he didn't drop the knife. He's like completely ignoring the cops. And they had the gun pulled on him. It's crazy. But what was my point about that? Oh yeah, the mother. His mother is a Christian woman. And I don't know what type of Christian woman she is, but she's saying we should support the president. He's the president. We should respect him. Meaning President Trump. That's nice. I don't want to have too low of standards, right? We want to hold blacks to a high standard of what right and wrong, right? Not to the standard of, well, that's better than what we're used to. Such as the scum of the earth mothers of these so-called victims, supporting the DNC and all that stuff, showing up at Democrat national conventions. Ridiculous. Remember Jordan? I mentioned him already. The guy who was he and his friends were playing loud music. So typical. Loud music, these young people. Annoying some guy. He said, turn it down. Altercation, he pulls a gun and shoots at them, supposedly thinking that he saw them pull a gun. No gun was found in their thing. Maybe he panicked. He got in trouble, by the way, in that incident. But that one, I thought, okay, that sounds like a reasonable case. Because, whites, intellectuals, we go, okay, case by case, right? We don't just want to say, Black Lives Matter has nothing valid to complain about. Nothing. They don't, right? But this one, it seemed like, that's too bad. It seemed like they made a mistake and he got killed. Racism? No, stupid. Same thing with Tamir Rice. I'm like, that's too bad. But I mean, he did reach into his, he did seem to reach towards his waistband. Tamir Rice, the 12-year-old with the fake, not the fake gun, but the pellet gun. And the rookie cop shot him. And they want to call it a murder. They accuse the cops of lying and racism and stuff like that. It's crazy. But got to look at the big picture. The big picture is these guys have no good solutions, just like climate change. If you believe that some of this stuff, some of this stuff is changing. None of these people who are pushing this stuff are giving actual real solutions. It's just a power grab, just like with this COVID thing. So they said, she got $12 million. That must mean they were guilty. Meaning Breonna Taylor's family got $12 million. See, I told you, there are evil people, liars, including not just blacks. There's this guy does he have like a Rothschild type handler? This guy, what is that guy's name? Who showed up at the Fallen State. He did a Fallen State interview, and then he debated Jesse Lee Peterson at a Politicon event. He's son of like a nun and a priest who betrayed their vows, which I don't agree with vows of celibacy. And they got married, and then now he's a dumb, crazy liberal. And he's like, used to appear on Bill Maher's show all the time. Real sarcastic guy, big on Twitter. But I don't think he's an actor. I think he's just maybe a comedian. But he's definitely a public celebrity figure type guy like that. But this guy, white guy, I guess, saying, they got $12 million. They stopped no-knock warrants. They ended no-knock warrants, which was a political move. It wasn't based in protecting anybody. And such and such and such and such, right? An officer fired, right? And then he's saying, this is injustice, this lack of prosecution in her death. She died because of what she was into. It's crazy. Joe Maddock gave a bunch of super chats, as did Kobadobi gave a diamond. Said, Breonna did a no-knock raid on that refrigerator. Oh, man. Too soon. But, yeah, she was big girl. Joe Maddock gave a diamond and said, MSM disinformation campaign. MSM stands for mainstream media. And by the way, YouTube and Google, secretly, it got leaked out. And I always have this in the back of my mind when I use MSM, mainstream media, right? The word MSM is a cause, or was put out there as a potential cause for suppressing the videos of anybody who uses the term MSM. MSM. M as in Mary, S as in Sam, M as in Mary. Mainstream media. Because that could be alt-right. I'm serious. You remember that? It's crazy. But MSM disinformation campaign proves they're the enemy of the people. Yeah, you're right, Joe Maddock. So true. They really are. Trump is so right about that. I love that he says it. I wish that we had a Kentucky attorney general who had Trump's boldness and adherence to truth and objectivity rather than thinking about how his mother would react if something were to happen to him. What, is he girlfriends with a drug dealer too? Or ex-girlfriends with a drug dealer? Sorry, man, no disrespect, but I can't respect that. Man. Joe Maddock gave a dime and said, arrest communists and anarchists for subversion. And is there a difference between communists and anarchists. They both want the destruction of America. And most of them tend to be left-leaning. Yeah, subversion. I liked how Tucker used the term subversion, too, with regard to what's that billionaire guy's name? Soros is doing. He got censored on Twitter for putting out a little clip of that on Twitter, of him talking about how Soros is funding all of these DAs who don't prosecute criminals, especially if they're helping the left. Crazy. And helping the destruction of civilization. Joe Maddock gave a diamond and said, so many people just have to suffer and die. Yeah, that's true. Don't get frustrated at people that don't agree with you and don't wake up and snap out of it. Just leave them alone. Appreciate the support on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report as well. Faithful supporters, King Alpha Nerd, Little Ethnic Child, Hot Computer Smell, Jib Jab, all you guys. And thank you guys for those of you joining Clovera and all of you guys over on Twitch. You never know. You never know. But I'm sure a lot of you guys are happy that I'm on YouTube again. Jesse Lee Peterson is not on YouTube. Go to jesseleepeterson.com/show. Don't be lazy and trifling. I know that we operate on convenience, right? But there is a way, and even the Gen X and the Boomers, whom I love, can find a way. Okay, guys, I gotta read this stuff to you. There are these stupid celebrities. Is it bad to call them stupid? Who, I just have to remind you, have been for... There is a difference between Gen X and Boomers, but both, and actually, honestly, Millennials and Gen Zs too, are trifling with regard to lack of convenience. And YouTube is a highly convenient platform on which you used to be able to watch all of your favorite hosts, but no more. No more. They're discriminating against the truth. They're discriminating against truth. Jesse Lee Peterson and so many others, right? So yes, there is a difference. Gen X are what I almost am. I thought I was Gen X. Kind of am. And then the Boomers raised the Gen Xers and the Millennials. Yikes. No wonder, right? No wonder. So, this is from Insider, June 3rd of this year. Speaking of late news, right? And Insider has all the celebrities who have signed an open letter to defund police budgets, which is counter to the interests of all Americans and sane people, and including the blacks who complain about the police. More cops, less death by cops. It's a fact, Jack. Look it up. Look it up on John R. Lott Jr.'s website, crimeresearch.org, if you don't believe me. That guy is a way more honest person than anybody in the mainstream media in terms of the people who think that we should be defunding or even reducing the budget of the cops. More cops, less death. Celebrities including Lizzo. Lizzo is the one who wore like she's fat, shamelessly fat, black. Is she a rapper? Lizzo, Lizzo. And some might say that's all you need to know, fat. But she showed shamelessly. This is even more though. This is even more. Speaks to, the shamelessness that is accepted in our culture and in her darkened mindset. That she showed her rear on national TV at a NBA game. The NBA, that degenerate league that promotes evil now, supports Black Lives Matter, the destruction of America, the destruction of the black community. The NBA, National Basketball Association. She was in the stands or in the, in the front watching the game. She can't play, I don't think. Showing her butt, nasty, in like a black thong or something. It's gross, sick. So that's her. John Legend, or should I say John Teagan? John Teagan. He might as well take his wife's last name. See, that's how much of a simp he is. I like his voice. He has some good songs. Maybe I shouldn't give him any credit. Very evil person. Hates Trump. Hates America. Emotional, passionate person. Jane Fonda, too. Jane Fonda, I don't know much about her. You boomers and Gen Xers, you know about her. I don't know if anybody who knows more history than me, who's younger than me, probably very likely knows about her. I guess, I don't know if ever she was an actor or just the daughter of a rich person or what, but she famously, betrayed America. Some people, I think, accuse her of treason. And so she continues her betrayal of America shamelessly, because there's a lot of evil, shameless people who support her, signed a letter pushing for a decrease in police budgets, reallocation of government funding to community programs. Like that ever helps. It doesn't. The Movement for Black Lives is a coalition of black rights groups, released a petition as part of their Week of Action, June 1st to 7th, to combat racism, which doesn't exist, except that they hate whites. And honestly, they hate blacks. And police brutality, which doesn't exist. Black brutality does, and police have to respond in kind, but sometimes they don't respond in kind, and then things get out of hand. And that's what you're seeing. In the United States, the letter points to deaths of individuals like George Floyd, who got himself killed overdosing fentanyl. Ahmaud Arbery, who wasn't even killed by cops. He was killed by the son of an ex-cop who, along with the ex-cop and another man looking out for their community, were trying to conduct a citizen's arrest because he did some very suspicious behavior. It looked like he may have committed a felony, burglary, maybe robbery. Ahmaud Arbery, they were trying to conduct a citizen's arrest. He ran from them. They hunted him down like a rabbit, was what the line was. They headed him off. I don't know, maybe you can criticize them. But he attacked an armed man. He attacked an armed man, got himself killed. And he had acted erratic before with cops, actual cops. Went up to them, ran up on one cop. The cop had to put his hand on the dude's chest because the dude was running up to him. He's like, "Don't get in my car. You can't look in my car." That's Ahmaud. That's acting awfully suspicious. Allegedly stole a TV, tried to anyways, out of a Walmart, and then lied about it, hanging around with younger people, setting a bad example. Breonna Taylor, the one who was involved in the drug business. At least in a never caught, no convictions, but I dare say most criminals get away with their crimes. She let her drug dealer boyfriend bailed him out of jail multiple times, acting like a black mother. So those are the deaths, some of the individuals that this letter to defund police points to, that these evil people signed on to. And also talked about the black communities that have been disproportionately affected by COVID-19. Before they were saying it's a white disease. And because there is a high obesity problem in the black community and some other issues, they are disproportionately affected from this disease. And they don't listen. They don't follow rules. They don't wear the masks or stop congregating. The blacks like to congregate. By that, I mean they like to have these barbecues and parties and all kinds of stuff. So that leads to disproportionate infections and suffering from COVID. The letter states that police brutality and the disease are connected and consequential to each other, whatever that means. Noting that the American government has chosen to invest in police and military rather than healthcare. You know why? Because there's black crime hurting black people and others, by the way. Duh. That's why they invest in police and the military is to protect us, right? Despite continued profiling, harassment, terror, and killing of black communities, local and federal decision makers continue to invest in the police, which leaves the black people vulnerable. No, it doesn't. The police help make the black communities a little safer. And our communities no safer, which is a lie, an utter lie. So I'm going to get to these people, not just John Legend, not just Lizzo, not just that one old dinosaur, but others, many others. I will read them. Let me get to some calls. Ragnar0321 gave a diamond and said, "What's up, James? Thanks for the show." Thank you, man. First, let me get to Chance in Kansas. He wants to talk about LeBron James and fake racism. Chance, thanks for calling. What's up?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Going well. How are you?
Doing well.
Nice.
And I just wanted to like touch on like I don't know if you read, I don't know if you talked about it on the show. I was on break. About his tweets. Did you see his tweets from yesterday?
I can just imagine. You know, I've heard. I might have seen
a
it.
Field day with it.
What? What do you say? Twitter.com/Queen James.
Yeah.
He calls himself King James.
I'd have to be on speakerphone, but I'll just try to kind of that'll be good content for tomorrow. But anyways, it's like he's on the line. Like
I see him. I can read him. Man.
Okay, cool.
So
like the most disrespected person on the earth is the black woman, and then he said, I've been lost for words on something. I was writing it down as quick as I could, but then he got on it. So
okay. Well, I have the tweets.
All right, man. Well, that's all I was just calling about.
Appreciated, Chance. He says, just say her name, and shares a Hadja Monet poem, say her name on YouTube. And then he goes, I've been lost for words today. This is 16 hours ago. I'm devastated, hurt, sad, mad. We want justice for Breonna, yet justice was met for her neighbor's apartment walls and not for her beautiful life. Oh, yeah, it was a beautiful life. Was I surprised at the verdict? Absolutely not. But dang it. He didn't say dang. I was and still am hurt and very heavy-hearted. I send my love to Breonna mother, family, and friends. I'm sorry. Sad face, big eyes, Bambi eyes face, and crying face.
Yeah.
12 million wasn't enough?
Yeah, and this is my last thing I got to say.
Yeah.
Where's the outcry? I don't hear one thing on the news about black on black crime. Where is it?
I know. You're right.
That's the main issue.
And they shoot down and attack anybody who actually shows some care and concern for the blacks. I mean, back when, what's that guy's name? Don Lemon? When he was actually citing truth about the black community, saying like 72% of blacks are born out of wedlock.
Yeah.
And black on black crime and this rioting is bad. This was like 2015, 2014, before he got severe Trump derangement syndrome and went full-blown mask-off evil.
Yeah.
When he pretended to be fair, he was called an Uncle Tom. And Bill O'Reilly used to talk about this stuff a little bit, about the police are directing their attention toward the crime-ridden communities. And Jesse Lee Peterson, he is providing the solutions, and he's bringing actual solutions.
Exactly.
And it's so interesting, too. He accuses, are you white or black or what?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I'm white.
So I don't know about you, but when I listen to his criticisms of the black community, I listen and I can relate in my own life to ways that I act black, right? Or think black or respond black.
Sure.
Whites who love Jesse, most of them, or many of them, they relate to the moral lessons that he
he's trying to teach.
Passes on. It's just wisdom straight from God that applies to all people.
Yeah, it goes straight over their head. Like, it's like they think that he's just trying to talk crap, but he's not.
Right.
Like he's trying to help you.
Right.
You know. So I don't know. I guess I don't know. But
I heard a story that Jesse Lee Peterson rolled his eyes at LeBron James before he got kicked out of his gym up in Equinox.
Yeah.
He passed by and rolled his eyes. Yeah. Somebody needs to shake LeBron. He's a mama's boy.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. All right. Well, anyways, buddy.
Thank you, man.
Keep going here.
Take care.
All right, man.
All right.
All right. You too.
Bye. LeBron said the most disrespected person on earth is the black woman. I'm yelling at the parts that he did all caps in his tweet, right? I promise you I'll do my best to change this as much as I can and even more. Love to you queens all over the country and beyond. And then he puts emojis of light-skinned black women, medium dark-skinned black women, and dark black-skinned black women, and a bunch of hearts. Yeah, they're praised the most. They're handled with kid gloves. And then where they are disrespected, it's responding in kind to how they act by blacks like, who are some of these blacks that are really fed up with black women? I think even that guy who hates white people, I don't even need to repeat his name, but he's been on Tucker Carlson's show over the years. He's big on Twitter. He gave Jesse Lee Peterson this Coon Award. And that other guy, there's another guy who's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, and he's just, he turned into sugar water with Lunel. But those guys are fed up with the black women because, well, there's no leadership to them. And he said, Grandma Frida, Gloria Marie, Savannah Rachel, Zuri Anne Marie Nova, I love you, my black queens, more than life itself. And he names off a bunch of other black females. I love you, queens, with black hearts. Oh, man. Akron, Ohio. Class of 03. What a shame. Yeah, Tariq Nasheed and Tommy Sotomayor. I have my favorite caller on the line. Hang on, favorite caller. And many others on the line. Hang on, guys and gals. So these people that signed on to defund the police, they're enemies of blacks, enemies of America. John Legend, the singer. He sings, he gives all of himself. Anyways, I won't get into that. Lizzo, I think she's a rapper. Actress, oh, I'm going to get this woman. Taraji P. Henson. She's like an aging actress, probably in her mid to late 40s or early 50s or mid 50s, possibly even. A fit actress. Mildly attractive for an older woman. Who infamously lied about UCLA cops. And I don't even know if she ever apologized for this one. But she has a son, right? Who had pot in his car back when it was still illegal here in America, here in LA. And honestly, I think it still is illegal federally. But anyway, he was stopped by the cops, UCLA cops, up here in Brentwood area, I guess, who were very nice to her son, according to police video, made her look stupid because she lied and said that her son was profiled, and she might have even used the word harassed by the police. And it turned out not to be true. and she puts that out there on social media, a liar. She should be hiding her head in shame, and she urged people to vote, these people. Anybody who listens to her should not be voting because they're going to vote ignorantly for the destruction of America. Actress Natalie Portman. Natalie Portman, once a pretty lady, I think, played in that Star Wars thing, Star Wars movie, after the original 3 came out, and then more recently, like in the 2000 area, a movie came out with her pretending to be a queen. I don't know if she ever pretended to be a Christian or what, but she supported this defund the police thing. Singer The Weeknd. The Weeknd. Oh, she's not Christian. Okay. had to put that out there just to clarify. The Weeknd, whose real name is Abel Makonnen Tesfaye, who was popular a couple of years ago, probably still is. Wild hair, maybe mixed race black, I don't know. Rapper / actor Common, who appeared in that movie Selma, and he's been in some action movies and things, but he also encouraged his followers to vote. Infamous traitor / old woman celebrity Jane Fonda. Young actress America Ferrera. Actress Brie Larson. Lesbian soccer player Megan Rapinoe. And actress Yara Shahidi. Legend is the Grammy-winning singer, John Legend, who pledged to donate money to the movement for Black Lives, also the National Lawyers Guild, also the Bail Project, to bail out to so-called protect Americans' First Amendment right to peacefully protest oppression and injustice, which is a total lie. They're not protesting oppression and injustice. They're spreading oppression and injustice. And they are not peaceful. They are falsely smearing the cops and whites. Portman shared a video of novelist James Baldwin, the homosexual one, who's dead now, who hated America and left America and falsely pretended to care about blacks by calling them his children. Such a phony person he was. But he's revered by the left. Speaking about race to her Instagram account, she added this quote, "You always told me it takes time. How much time do you want for your progress?" Which is a bitter quote from a bitter old man who died, James Baldwin, the black one. The Weeknd signed a letter to defund the police. He also posted screenshots of his donation receipts. I think I might have this screenshot. I think he gave 2 donations of $100,000 each to the Black Lives Matter something fund. 200,000 Black Lives Matter global network. And he also gave 200,000, this guy just has money to burn, to the Colin Kaepernick Know Your Rights campaign, more like Know Your Wrong campaign, and 100,000 to National Bailout. Enemy of America. The Weeknd. Don't listen to his music. Catchy music, though, but evil guy. Misguided. America Ferrera said that she's enraged by the amount of money that goes to LAPD, Los Angeles. She said, in my home city of Los Angeles, 54% of the city's budget goes to police, over half, which is only fair. The budget doesn't need to be anything but police, and I guess fix the roads, which they don't, I guess they're just kind of doing. Clean up the homelessness crisis, which can also be done by the cops if we didn't have dumb housing rights activists over here. I can't even find education resources on the major's budget pie. A healthy society is not built on policing. A healthy society is not built on supporting degeneracy like she's doing. We need healthcare, education, jobs, and social services. If you're not enraged by this, then you're not paying attention, she wrote. THAN, she wrote. She needs education. It's improper grammar. It's then, THEN. And they're donating to bail out rioters. Chrissy Legend, many others, Mindy Kaling, Harry Styles, that dumb band Paramore, which isn't that a white band? I thought. Blake Lively, who's married to Ryan Reynolds. They're both actresses. Is Ryan Reynolds the one who got married at that beautiful plantation down in the South? And he and Blake Lively? Somebody Google that for me. Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, plantation wedding. See if that's the one. But she posted some horrific lies. I may, if I have time, get to those screenshots. But I gotta be fair to my favorite caller, Maze, in Dayton, Ohio. Maze, how are you doing?
Hello, Jay.
Hey.
I'm just marvelous as always. I have a question. Why do Caucasians think they're supposed to tell us how to think and what we need to do? And they got a problem themselves?
They don't tend to do that, Maze. I wish they would do it more. Honestly, I wish the Caucasians would tell the Negroids how to think and behave more. Yes, they really need to do that.
And you don't have any morals or any values, so how are you going to tell somebody how to think?
You don't know me, Maze.
Who changed who diapers? Who was
You know who's telling whom what to do and how to think? Maze? Is the blacks. The blacks are constantly telling whites what not to do, what to do, how to think. They're constantly meddling in whites' stuff and saying policing.
Who's making up?
You don't have white privilege anymore. You can't tell me what to do. I'm going to the bathroom.
Who's making up all these laws in this country? Tell me how many black people sitting on some board somewhere.
Too many. Way too many.
And you're trying to change the justice
too many.
So you can have it your way now. What?
Too many blacks.
But you always want to look at
and they're not decent blacks. They're unjust blacks. They're enemies of America blacks. Did you know, Maze, that this thing called critical race theory is something that was come up with by mostly blacks and also a Japanese person. And who knows who educated them, right? There's enemies of America of all races.
I guess they don't put America in what place with education.
There's enemies of America across all races, right?
Everybody's an enemy. Everybody's your enemy. Everybody's your enemy except you. You're not even looking at yourself.
You don't know what I'm talking about, Mace. You're so lame.
I asked you, James, I asked you a question. Who's making up all these rules and regulations for America?
Evil people that you support.
A group of people that look alike, or is a group of people that all different shades?
All different races who are enemies of America, yes.
You're not answering my question.
I did. All races of people, Mace.
Are made by who?
You. Because you support this stuff.
Support what stuff? You supporting people that you watch on TV. I like to be around real people that you can see, touch, and have a conversation with, not those people that you just named off.
Who did you vote for in the last election, Mace?
What do my vote have to do with anything? Your vote is personal.
I'm talking. No, it's not personal. It's not personal, Mace. Stop acting white.
Excuse me?
You're acting white right now.
I'm not acting white. I'm acting I am. You acting black then. I don't know why you keep saying you acting black. I don't know where you got that from.
I said you're acting white.
Is that what you want to be?
Whatever, Mace.
Sound like it.
You're not making sense.
You know, the heathen with the dirty heart.
The only reason that you're still on the line right now, Maze, is because your friend from Dayton, Ohio, would like to speak with you.
Oh, shit, no problem. My friend, I want if you want to speak to me, answer my question. Don't just come over here with some lollygagging.
But you don't answer. You jump from subject to subject, Maze.
I said, why do they think they're supposed to tell us they don't own us?
Is your husband still sane, Maze?
What?
Is your husband still sane with the way that you rattle off and jump around?
When you get a wife, I give you the answer.
No, I want to know now. Okay, here's Blazing Hawgs. Hold on, Maze. Shh. Blazing Hawgs from Dayton, Ohio says Maze is lying.
Really?
Yeah. Blazing Hawgs, what's up?
Why do you always call, or what's up?
Hey.
Maze, why do you always call in lying? You lied to Jesse this morning when you said you've never been corrected by anybody but your daddy. I corrected you.
I haven't.
3 or 4 weeks ago.
You see, you confused, Blazing Hawgs. Let's stop there. Let me tell you. I said I don't have to. The only person that could tell me what to do. It was my father, and I said he was dead. So what are you talking about correction? Get it right.
I know what it is, Blazing Hawgs. I know what it is. Yes, you did lie that she didn't get corrected. She got corrected by many, but she didn't heed the correction. I don't even know if she heeded her father's correction. I mean, she turned out probably okay.
Like y'all president say
she's still living.
So what are you talking about, Blazing Hawks?
But then again, So is Maxine
You're looking for somebody
Waters.
to tell a lie.
Jesse said you need to be correct.
Maybe you.
Yeah, and that's
What?
true, Maze. You do need to be
You talking
corrected.
about Jesse? We want to know. We want
Maze.
to know what Blazing Hawg think, not Jesse. We talking to you.
But
That's
he
why
agrees.
you keep calling in with all this mess.
I
All you
call
do is
because
call
I
in
have the
with
right to
mess.
call, and you don't like it because you can't take it.
No, I call in
And when
just to correct
when I
you
used to call in the
again.
Mike Cinto show, you didn't have no problem, but you got a problem now because somebody can stand up to you. That's your weak. You weak men. Y'all always want to find some woman that got to wash your feet and walk behind you just like she's your slave or your child. Children do that, not grown-ups. And black people are not children; they're not animals. But you treat your animal better than you do black people. You
You're
can laugh.
amazing.
You know the two birds.
Maze.
And you can
Then why
whatever,
do
but-
Maze? Then why
but
do
I'm asking
why do blacks act like children and act like animals?
No, they don't act like children. You got grown-ups.
You
Y'all
haven't been
just
watching.
won't
You haven't been
read it
watching
like-
what's going on in the country. If you're gonna pretend
you
that.
You've been watching it. You've been watching the booth. Everybody you name was somebody on the TV or somebody famous.
No.
What normal person do you know?
I
you
named
nasty
I
people?
named the guy who shot the 2 police officers,
What do you know
Lorenzo
about- what do you know about those people?
Johnson.
What to think, not how. You know what to think. That's what you're thinking because it's passed on and on and on.
Thank you, Maze.
And I
Take
still
care.
ask Blazing Hawg. I want
have
to
a
answer
good
my
one.
question, Jane.
Have a
Let me
good
answer
day.
My question.
I
Let me
answered
answer
your
my
question. I said the
Not
whites
you.
should.
I'm saying Blazing Hawg.
I'll give you a chance
Okay.
because I'm nice.
Who makes about
Okay.
the rules and regulations to this country and come up with all the tests? What group of people do that?
You're going to have to slow it down. I can't
Maze, are you
understand
Jewish? Are you a Jewish lady?
Why you got to know what I am? I'm a human being.
No, but what
That's what I
religion
am.
are you?
And just black. I don't have a religion.
Oh, okay. But you cite God, so then, yeah, you don't have a true
like,
religion.
duh.
You have a false
You don't have to
religion.
You don't have to know about the Bibles and the different books and things. If you read and you can form your own opinion, you can deal with anything. Just like Blazing Hawg, I can deal with him if he would just
Any last
sit
word
back and
for
relax and
Maze,
give me
Blazing
some-
Hogs?
I want him to
Hey,
answer my question.
I'm white and I need syllables with what you say. You say it so fast. I can't.
I bet you
understand.
use that. That's what all Caucasians use. I couldn't understand nothing she's saying, but you responding to what I'm saying. Really?
I'm out. I can't even.
All right,
understand.
thank you,
Really?
Blazing
Oh,
Hogs.
yeah.
Good to hear
we
from
know
you, man.
you can't take it.
All
Next
right,
time you
later.
step in this
All
maze,
right.
you cheat and
Bye.
know what you're doing.
I
Answer the
bet you that's
question.
how her husband acts too. I'm
I
out.
want him to. I'm free.
Have a good one, Maze.
That's what free people do.
You have a
James,
good day.
I want you to answer my question. You and Blazing Hawg, you can't. Do it and do it with what you think.
Who are making the laws? You
Yeah,
said
who's making them?
who's making the laws?
Whose laws are these?
All
Yes,
races.
Everybody got to live by. Who's making these laws?
All races of people.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Really.
Yep.
You just told a lie.
No, I didn't.
In
It's
Jesus' name, you just
disproportionately.
told a
I dare
lie.
say it's disproportionately.
now
The liberal
disproportionately.
Jewish people and the blacks that they
Really?
pretend to
You still-
support.
you
It's
still told a lie.
disproportionately those people. There's some whites who are simping along too. White
Because when I
Christians who
hear
are
you-
simping along.
Because when listening to you all, if I was told what to think, I was saying like, well, Dad, the cops now are supposed to kill people. They're not supposed to
Yes,
arrest
they are.
them.
They
I
are
think
supposed
they're
to kill
just
people.
Kill them on the spot. No jury, no judge. Well, why do they have courts? Just get rid of those? That's what y'all want to do?
No, the cops
Get rid of the
kill people
system
when
because-
when a situation gets out of control, as so often happens with regard to
Oh, really?
black criminals.
Your situation,
Thanks,
the
Maze.
situation that
Could take care. What a mess. Sorry, guys. So, we're opening the treasure chest. Chrissy Legend on May 30th, because Trump had tweeted that we're going to have a MAGA night or MAGA day back in May at the White House, right? She tweeted, in celebration of whatever the F word that MAGA night is, which is something that Trump said, I am committed to donating $100,000 to the bailouts of protesters across the country. And this is when there were riots. There were riots. Riots. Then she tweeted, oh, they may need more money. Make it $200,000. Sick people. Insider continues, other celebrities who contributed bail relief funds include Harry Styles, who dressed up like a girl with this disgusting black see-through lace stuff. Said that he was donating to help post bail for arrested organizers. I just have to remind you guys. This is the pics. These are screenshots of him dressed up like a girl. I guess he's a singer. He and this other weird dude with a beard who dressed up in a total dress disgusting people. Donating to post bail for arrested organizers. And the band Paramore gave $25,000 across three organizations. BLM, Nashville, Campaign Zero, whose one of the representatives was interviewed by the Jesse Lee Peterson show, and just completely, he's into statistics, but he completely lied and supports guilty and even after proven innocent. Yeah, Harry Styles paints his fingernails different colors. That same day he did it. He also donated to the ACLU, the Paramore band did. I've heard of them. It's like a girly boy band, right? They play instruments, but it's female-oriented. In an effort to support the black community and be responsible with their privilege. Oh, my gosh. Mindy Kaling, who is she the one who's Indian and her brother? Isn't her brother the one who posed as black to get into medical school? Because being Indian, he didn't get the affirmative action? And wasn't that here in California where affirmative action is illegal? I think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Vijay Ingham. Anyway, apparently she deleted her tweet like many people did, but Seth Rogen, Steve Carell, who's that dumb actor from The Office, the American version, they didn't delete their tweets. They're shameless. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Were you able to look that up? Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds. I wonder if they did that. They also opened up about their donations to organizations like the NAACP, National Association Against Colored People, Legal Defense Fund, Campaign Zero, and the Minnesota Freedom Fund. Wedding. Plantation. Boone Hall Plantation in Mount Pleasant, which features 9 slave cabins, referred to as Slave Street. It's a beautiful place. I want to go. I showed you that plantation not years back, maybe a month or 2 or 3 ago. But they're donating to the destruction of America now. And they're falsely smearing. They apologize for having done their wedding at a plantation, former slave plantation. Harry Styles tweeted, "I do things every day without fear." And I have some screenshots of these that you could just randomly show. The Jonas Brothers even did it with their girlfriends or wives or whatever. But Harry Styles tweeted, "I do things every day without fear because I am privileged. And I am privileged every day because I am white. Being not racist is not enough. We must be anti-racist. Social change is enacted when society mobilizes. I stand in solidarity," which is a communist word, "with all of those protesting," which is a lie. They're not protesting. He went on, "I'm donating to post bail for arrested organizers. Look inwards. Educate yourself and others. Listen, read, share, donate, and vote. Enough is enough. Black Lives Matter." And that's a singer guy. The dumb band Paramore, they tweeted a picture statement supporting Black Lives Matter and Black and LGBTQ plus communities. See, enemies of the people who are stuck in that homosexual thing by trying to make them feel good about being wrong. And enemies of black people, too. Lincoln Black and LGBTQIA plus community all together. Those are our fans. Love Paramore. Supporting BLM Nashville. Blake Lively posted a horrific lies on Instagram, saying, "We've never had to worry about preparing our kids for different rules of law or what might happen if we're pulled over in a car. We don't know what it's like to experience that life day in and day out." Just imaginary problems, right? We can't imagine feeling that kind of fear and anger. We're ashamed that in the past we've allowed ourselves to be uninformed about how deeply rooted systemic racism is. We've been teaching our children differently than the way our parents taught us. We want to educate ourselves, so they're brainwashing their children just like black parents have been brainwashing their children. Now the white kids are being brainwashed. We want to educate ourselves about other people's experiences and talk to our kids about everything, all of it, especially our own complicity. Talk about child abuse. And she has 3 children, by the way. This woman has 3 children with Ryan Reynolds, who played that weird guy in that vulgar superhero movie, I think. We talk about our bias, blindness, and our own mistakes. So hypocritical, such a phony thing. We look back and see so many mistakes which have led us to deeply examine who we are and who we want to become. They've led us to huge avenues of education. We're committed to raising our kids so they never grow up feeding this insane pattern. Look at these. Look at this couple. There's Ryan Reynolds. And there's evil Blake Lively. What did he play? I don't care. Deadpool. Yeah, Deadpool. Vulgar movie. I know a guy who has a strong stomach, and he walked out of that movie. And he had paid for it, too. I wonder if he got his money back. Hopefully he did. Buddy of mine. It's the least we can do not to honor not just George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, Eric Garner, the guy who resisted arrest. Look at their kids. Abuse, child abuse. But all the black men and women who have been killed when a camera wasn't rolling. So that she wants her kids to do their best to never inflict pain on another being, consciously or unconsciously. So last week, we contributed $200,000 to the NAACP, the National Association Against Colored People, Legal Defense Fund. We stand in awe of this organization and its leader, Sherilyn Ifill, a woman. And this is just a start. We also pledge to stay educated and vote in every local election. We want to know the positions of school board nominees, sheriffs. This is a woman worrying her pretty little head, demented little head, about this stuff and passing it on to her children. We want to know their positions on justice. But mainly we want to use our privilege and platform to be an ally and to play a part in easing pain for so many who feel as though this grand experiment, which they call America, is failing them. Sick. The Jonas Brothers, Drake, The Weeknd, Brandon Urie, Panic at the Disco, K-pop group BTS gave $1 million. Sick. John Cena, ex-pro wrestler. Sick. Donated to BLM. Anyway, guys, I'm way over. Callers, sorry, I had to get that out. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. This has been The Hake Report. TheHakeReport.com for my stuff. JesseLeePeterson.com for Jesse's stuff. RebuildingTheMan.com for Church with Jesse Lee Peterson. Much needed. All right, guys, take care.